Good afternoon, wrestling fans, and welcome to another edition of Wrestle Talk Show. I'm your host, Joshua Zimmerman, and I hope we all remembered at 2 o'clock this morning or earlier to set our clocks forward, or a lot of us are extremely late for church. Moving right along, we'd like to thank everyone that follows us. We'd like to thank again the Wrestling Geniuses for their co-production and back and forth, provided for a lot of good topic in the last video, a lot of good responses, and I put May on the Facebook page, but we are definitely planning a co-hosting, co-production idea, concept with them, and when that materializes outside of working out the details, you will be the second to know, me being the first. Moving along into your demographics, I like to give you them every once in a while, like we always do. You'll be happy to know that our coverage area, even though it says all, I've narrowed it down that all includes the United States of America, Asia, Africa, Europe, the Middle East, and South America. Our total views of all videos posted, the 60 plus video, the 68 plus videos posted, averaged a total of 4,605 views, which is very good to see. In the popularity department, as of these readings come on a 24-hour basis and are as current as March 10th, 89% of the male demographic was the overall audience, with the female demographic coming in at 11%. To bring us up to 100%. So that fluctuates between 11 and 15%. So as always, we want to thank you for that. Demographic ages, for those of you that are interested. Our core demographic at the moment, as of the 10th, was the 45 to 54-year-old male and female demographic, which held between 25 and 27% of the total audience. Second place was the 25 to 34-year-olds, male and female, which held 23% of the overall audience. The space that may need improving, openly and admittedly, is what should be our core demographic, 18 to 24-year-olds, both male and female, as of the 10th, held 18% of the total audience. In the subscribers outlook on things, we have 29 members to our YouTube page. That's youtube.com/CWE Company to view this video and every other video. So we're happy to see the subscribers keep growing. Every other day I'm adding somebody else. So if you haven't heard of us already, figure it out. youtube.com/CWE Company and figure out what you're missing. Like I always say, if you have anything to comment, you can directly post under the video itself. It'll get sent directly to me. You can send show-related emails to cwecompany@gmail.com and interact with our online forum at WrestleTalkShow.webs.com. Moving along, our most engaging video to date that holds 16.7% of the total views out of that 4,600. 16% were impressed with the somewhat current video entitled "Hogan Needs Money and TNA Causes Withdrawal." I thought that title was kind of funny. And our top country, I don't want to be mean when I say this, but of course, is the United States. Moving on to your wrestling news, starting off with your ratings for the day, between the two shows that we haven't covered yet. Thursday night's TNA Impact scored a 1.25 compared to last week's 1.37, and 2 weeks ago, or if you're following along, the week before that, scored a 1.25. So maybe something Sting having the title, even though it was no surprise. They were going to bring Sting back. Sting wasn't signing with WWE that time he was out. So you knew where he was going to end up. And just to see them do the Undertaker promo in their own way to introduce Sting was just retarded. But we've gotten into that before. The TNA Victory Road pay-per-view is tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. Check your local pay-per-view providers for that. If you'd like to submit a report for that and become a columnist, I open anybody and everybody that wants to contribute to the show, its production, the material in the production. You can become a staff writer. Anything you feel you have a knack for, drop me an email or friend us on Facebook and Twitter at CWE Company. On Facebook, you can also send me direct show emails or show-related emails, rather. Next, WWE wraps up its weekend tour tonight. Raw, Jim Ross to be at Raw show. It wasn't specified in the... It probably was, but I ripped it off the headline as it came in just before I did this. It says Ross at Raw show. Now, whether it was a bunch of house shows and it was a Raw hosting a house show, which I can believe, because they would make a big deal if it were on an actual Raw. But to me, this sounds like the Raw staff were just at a house show over the weekend, and Jim Ross was in the audience. UFC's parent company is set to buy competitor Strikeforce, so look for more news on that. As of yesterday, when it broke, it was the major headline in ESPN's headline news. So MMA can make it, so hopefully we can get wrestling and more hype on Wrestlemania with that, but we'll see what happens. Another match formally announced for the WrestleMania card, which we all seen coming if we're following the storylines, is Rey Mysterio versus Cody Rhodes. In your MMA news, further MMA news, performer Brock Lesnar will have his next fight tentatively on June 11th, 2011, but that's a tentative date and has not been, it's been set by UFC, but not finalized. MVP and several other American wrestlers of New Japan Wrestling were caught in a massive 8.9 earthquake in Japan, I'm assuming over the weekend. And WWE advertises The Rock as its showcase item for Monday Night Raw following WrestleMania. Now, the way they wrote it, don't be disappointed this time, because it's very likely that it'll be there, being the night after WrestleMania. I can't see why you wouldn't, especially when you say, and you've had used against you the last 2 weeks, I'm never going to leave, and then you get The Rock via video package. But that's neither here nor there. I'd like to think that if they're going to hype it after Mania, you want to come out hot, so the least Rock can do is show up for Monday Night Raw after the fact and maybe do some follow-up. You know, you might not get, I imagine you'll get your signature moves on the wrestler The Rock doesn't like, just to showcase him. But maybe there's a little more, you know, that this feud doesn't have to end. Like we said 2 videos ago, or a video or 2 ago in both. John Cena and The Rock, if he decides to do a one and done, you can hype that up for the next 6 months to a year, and you would get pay-per-view buys wherever you did it. Moving along, TNA news. Current TNA wrestler Kurt Angle discusses his future in TNA and whether or not he'll return to the WWE part-time. And this is actually kind of funny, because I wasn't aware WWE wanted him. That's not to say that I didn't know. It's just that there's no big hurry from Vince to get Kurt Angle back. he's pledged his allegiance, especially when you follow up that comment by saying, I have a lot of outside projects pulling me away from wrestling. That's a no-no in Vince's code of wrestling. You either wrestle for him or you don't, unless you're on a part-time, and I don't think you're established enough to pull an Undertaker where you can show up on the pay-per-views that you decide. But who knows? And the company he works for now, he's lucky he's the biggest star with his wrestling style, because that's really all he has going for him in TNA. But he follows up his statement by saying, I might return to the WWE part-time, but will retire here and emphasize TNA. So right then and there, in my opinion, you've screwed yourself, because you've said you'd like to go back to work for WWE, but WWE, don't count on me staying because I'm going to retire with your competitor. Give me a job, and then I'm going to go back to the people I feel like wrestling for again. So I'd love to see that contract and whether or not it flies with Vince, but we'll see what happens. Canada, a little disgruntled, but the deal has been extended. WWE extends its TV agreement with Canada. Canada, as part of the agreement, expressed that it wants more product in exchange for the deal. Apparently, like New Zealand and the United Kingdom, you get televised events, but WWE is even worse than they are in the States. The States actually get more free content than anywhere else, where you'd think you'd want to be focusing on Mexico and all those other places that are just now starting to give you decent buy rates, etc., etc. Just a tip, but I know it falls on deaf ears. Dixie Carter, I don't know what you do, but people want to retire with you. You're not a promoter. Someone should step in, let you go back to hanging out with your husband in the audience, and you can have the final say on paper, but you on TV, the world is sick of. No business sense. Everybody's friend, even when it screws you. By the way, Kevin Nash says hi from his 5-year deal with WWE, where he's making probably more money than he was with you. And you still have that shit-eating grin on your face. You gotta tell me the secret. Until next time, that was your wrestling news. We will have TNA Victory Road coverage almost in virtual time and or right after it happens. So look forward to that either later tonight or first thing tomorrow morning. Visit WrestleTalkShow.webs.com. Post a question on the forum. Give me something to work with. It'll get posted on the next video. Show emails to cwecompany@gmail.com. Friend us on Facebook and Twitter, both at CWE Company. And until next time, guys, have an excellent afternoon.